Saiva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakascha Sarvesham Gurunatina. So we are continuing Caitanya-caritāmṛta. We are hearing about Mahaprabhu along with the Pancha Tattva flooded the entire world with Krishna Prema. So we'll continue from there. Oh, you're reading the... Oh, no. Okay. Jagat-duvila jiva hoilo bijanash tahadeki pancha jane paramahulas. When the 5 members of the Pancha Tattva saw the entire world drowned in love of Godhead, and the seed of material enjoyment and the living entities completely destroyed, they all became exceedingly happy. Jatta jatta prema bishti kore pancha jane tatta tatta bade jal vyape tri bhuvane. The more the 5 members of the Pancha Tattva caused the rains of love of Godhead to fall, the more the inundation increases and spreads all over the world. Mayavadi karma nishta kutarkika gan nindak pashandi jata paruyadam sesa mahadakka daya palailo sevanyata sabade juite narilo. The impersonalists, fruitive workers, false logicians, blasphemers, non-devotees, and lowest among the student community are very expert in avoiding the Krishna consciousness movement. And therefore the inundation of the Krishna consciousness movement cannot touch them. Well, speaking about prema, to be exact, the inundation of prema cannot touch them. Tahadeki Mahaprabhu koden chintan jagatu vaite ami korilo jatan keho keho edailo pratigya hoilo bhanga tasabadu vaite patibo kichuranga. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were fleeing, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead, but some of them have escaped. Therefore I shall devise a trick to drown them also. So some conspiracy to help other people sometimes is necessary. To help people who don't want to be helped. Etabori mane kichu koriya vichar sannyasa shrama prabhu koilangikar. Thus the Lord accepted the sannyas order of life after full consideration. Chabishvatsar chila grihastha shrame pancha vimshati varshe koilojati dharme. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in householder life for 24 years, and on the verge of his 25th year he accepted the sannyas order. Sannyas koriya prabhu koila karshan jatek palaya chila tarkika digan. After accepting the sannyas order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attracted the attention of all those who had evaded him, beginning with the logicians. Paduya pashandi karmi ninda kari jatta tarasi prabhupai hoya vanata. Thus the students, infidels, fruitive workers, and critics all came to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Aparad komailo dubilo prema jole keba daibe prabhu prema mahajale. Lord Chaitanya excused them all, and they merged into the ocean of devotional service. For no one can escape the unique loving network of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Well, this is our hope, right? That we will be caught by the nets of the Lord, even if we don't want to be. Even if we're trying to run, our hope is that the Lord will catch us and capture our heart, right? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj also mentions that there's that beautiful expression. He says, our solace is that Krishna is a thief, right? And he will steal our heart. And he says, a thief needs no invitation. He doesn't need any invitation. And of course, ultimately, he is not a thief because we all belong to him. We are his property. And he will knock down any walls we have constructed in our heart. Sabanishtarite Prabhu Kripavatar Sabanishtarite Kore Chaturiyapar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. A plan, a special plan, custom, tailored plan for every individual. How to help this person, how to save this person. This is the loving heart of the Lord, right? For every individual. Like we're singing in that song, right? Jeev Jago, that Ami Bina Bandhu Ar Keache Tomar. Like other than me, who is your friend? Right? I am your real friend. I am your best friend. Right? So he is thinking about every soul. Right? And we also have that beautiful book, Loving Search for the Lost Servant. Right? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj says there, the Lord, inconceivably, he feels some pangs of separation for every single one of his separated souls, right? Separated parts. And so he's trying to make some plan for everyone. How to bring them home, how to bring them home. How to help them when they don't want to be helped. Right? That is the problem. All were converted into devotees of Lord Chaitanya, even the Mlechas and Javanas. Only the impersonalist followers of Shankaracharya evaded him. Vrindavan jaite Prabhu rohila kashite, mayavadi ganatade lagilo nindite. While Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan, the Mayavadi sannyasi philosophers blasphemed against him in many ways. Sannyasi hoya kore gaya nachan, na kore vedanta bhatta kore sankirtan. Although as sannyasi, he does not take interest in the study of Vedanta, but instead always engages in chanting and dancing and sankirtan. So this, actually it's interesting because this pastime when Mahaprabhu is in Varanasi, it is mentioned, I think 3 different times in 3 different parts of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and in each part you hear a different aspect of the pastime, right? How I'm referring to how he meets with this large assembly of sannyasis, and he captures their heart, right, and brings them all to the feet of Krishna. And so it's mentioned here, and then it's mentioned at least in 1, but possibly 2 other places. And we hear a different angle, right, each time. And so it's so this was their confusion, right, and their cause of contention. Their idea of a sannyasi is someone who would completely, this is Mayavad conception of sannyas, right? Full renunciation. And that is, so their shaving of the head represents, right? The Mayavad sannyasis, they fully shave their head, right? Because it's symbolizing complete renunciation. But this is why the Vaishnava Brahmin sannyasis, they keep the Sika, right? Because that's representing renunciation from the world, but attachment to Krishna, right? Attachment to service, right? Service life. That is the idea. And so this is their idea of sannyas: someone who renounces the world, stays alone, and studies, right? Studying the Vedanta, the scripture. And so they could not understand, this mad sannyasi, Mahaprabhu, he's wearing the sannyasa dress, and they also know his family. He had some fame because he came from a respected family lineage. And he himself was famous as a Sanskrit scholar, right? Nimai Pandit. He used to travel around India giving classes on Sanskrit. And so they're puzzled. We know this boy. He comes from a good family. He's very intelligent. And he's taken sannyas. Why he's behaving like this? Like some emotional, bum on the street, singing and dancing. This is very silly behavior, right? So they were irritated and also genuinely puzzled by it. Like they can't understand, what is he doing? Right? So we're going to hear a little about that here. So although a sannyasi, he does not take interest in the study of Vedanta, but instead always engages in chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. Varka sannyasi nija dharma nahi jane, bavu ka hoya fere, bavu ke rasane. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an illiterate sannyasi and therefore does not know his real function. Guided only by his sentiments, he wanders about in the company of other sentimentalists. He sab shuniya prabhu hase mone mone, upeka kariya kadana koilo sambhashane. Hearing all this blasphemy, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merely smiled to himself, rejected all these accusations, and did not talk with the Mayavadis. This is actually interesting point here, because you see on a few occasions in Caitanya-caritāmṛta when someone is insulting him, it says Mahaprabhu smiles. Here they're insulting him in a nasty way, Mahaprabhu smiling. And then there's another occasion that I can remember is when the son of Sarvabhauma-bhattacharya is insulting Mahaprabhu, right? And Mahaprabhu also smiling, laughing. And Sarvabhauma's, completely, livid with rage, right? And wants to kick it's his son. Yeah, Amog, right? Amoga. And he wants to, kick him out, but Mahaprabhu is just smiling, right? He's not disturbed. And actually Amog is criticizing Mahaprabhu, because Sarvabhauma wants to feed Mahaprabhu, right? And so he prepares this beautiful feast. And Mahaprabhu is just accepting out of affection. But then his son comes, he has to sneak in because Sarvabhauma is guarding the door. But his son gets past and he sees Mahaprabhu, starts criticizing, oh, you're eating so much. What kind of a sannyasi are you, eating all this fancy food? And Mahaprabhu just smiles and says, yeah, he's right, actually. I shouldn't be eating so much. He has no problem. So it's very, very nice it's a very nice example, right? Somebody may try to insult us, but we have a choice in whether we are insulted, right? That is our choice, right? Somebody may try to humiliate us, but that doesn't mean we have to be humiliated, right? That's our choice. Right? It's all within the world of our ego, right? That's our prerogative, right? Nobody can touch that. Upeka kariya koilo matura gaman, matura dekiya puna koilo agaman. Thus neglecting the blasphemy of the Varanasi Mayavadis, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded to Mathura, and after visiting Mathura, he returned to meet the situation. Okay, so Mahaprabhu was he was in Varanasi, and then he left for some time to Mathura, and then he went back. Kashidele Kaka Shudra Shri Chandrasekhar Ṭhākura Rahila Prabhu Swatantra Ishwar. This time Lord Chaitanya stayed at the house of Chandrasekhar. Although he was regarded as a Sudra or Kayasta, for the Lord, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is completely independent. So this is the part of the customs of the Varnashrama, right? That you're not meant, someone of a higher caste shouldn't eat food cooked by someone of a lower caste or stay in their home and so on. And so this Chandrasekhar, he's a Vaishnava, right? But from some lower caste. So technically Mahaprabhu is, according to the custom, should not stay with him or eat with him. But Mahaprabhu is independent, swatantra, and he's ignoring that, right? He's looking, the heart, right? He's considering. He is a Vaishnava. A real Vaishnava is higher, is beyond any consideration of social class, right? Tapan Mishra Gode Bhikka Nirvahan Sanyasi Sange Nahi Maneni Mantran. As a matter of principle, Lord Chaitanya regularly accepted his food at the house of Tapan Mishra. He never mixed with other sannyasis, nor did he accept invitations from them. Sanatan Gosayasi Tahai Milila Tar Shikalagi Prabhu Ruma Sanohila. When Sanatan Goswami came from Bengal, he met Lord Chaitanya at the house of Tapan Mishra, where Lord Chaitanya remained continuously for 2 months to teach him devotional service. So this is all described later in the Ādi-līlā, right? And it's a good chunk of the Ādi-līlā, and very important meeting, and very beautiful. This is when Sanatana Goswami has escaped from jail, right? Because he was imprisoned by the governor after he tried to quit. And so Sanatana has this very dramatic break from jail and then finally reaches, Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, and they have a very beautiful reunion. And then Mahaprabhu personally instructs him for 2 months, right, in teachings of Sambandha Gyan particularly, right. On the basis of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, which reveal these confidential directions, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami regarding all the regular activities of a devotee. Timadje Chandrasekhar Mishra Tapan Dukhi Hoya Prabhu Pai Koilo Nivedan. While Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatana Goswami, both Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra became very unhappy. Therefore, they submitted an appeal unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Why were they unhappy? Let's find out. Kotek Shunibo Prabhu Tomar Nindan Napari Sahite Charibo Jivan. How long can we tolerate the blasphemy of your critics against your conduct? We should give up our lives rather than hear such blasphemy. So they're living, Tapan Mishra, Sanatan. There's hardly any Vaishnavas in Varanasi at that time. And it's like we only hear about a few of them, these 3 or 4. And so Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra, they're hearing a lot of criticism about Mahaprabhu, particularly from all these sannyasis, these proud sannyasis. And so they're very pained, and so they request Mahaprabhu, please save them. We can't tolerate this anymore. Tomaden doyā jatta sannyasira gan chunita napadi fate vidoy shavam. The Mayavadi sannyasis are all criticizing your holiness. We cannot tolerate hearing such criticism, for this blasphemy breaks our hearts. Iha shuni rohe Prabhu ishadasya Se kaleka vipramilila asya. While Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar were thus talking with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only smiled slightly and remained silent. At that time, a Brahmin came there to meet the Lord. Asi nivedan kore charane doyā, ekavastu magodeha prasana hoya. The Brahmin immediately fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and requested him to accept his proposal in a joyful mood. Sakal sanyasi mui koino nimantran tumi jadi aisa borna hoy mohaman. My dear Lord, I have invited all the sannyasis of Benares to my home. My desires will be fulfilled if you also accept my invitation. So you see, we kind of get a glimpse here into how Yogamaya works, right? Yogamaya is that, that energy in the background, which is kind of like the stage manager, like managing everything for the pleasure of the Lord, right? And so these devotees, they come and ask Mahaprabhu, please, can you help, to purify these sannyasis? And Mahaprabhu just smiles, right? And then immediately the solution comes, right? Then this other Vaishnava comes and he's arranged this assembly with all these sannyasis, and he wants Mahaprabhu to come also and speak with them. So I've invited all these sannyasis to my home, and please accept my invitation. My dear Lord, I know that you never mix with other sannyasis, but please be merciful unto me and accept my invitation. Prabhu hasi nimantran koilo angikar sannyasire kripa lagi e bangi tahar. Lord Chaitanya smiled and accepted the invitation of the Brahmin. He made this gesture to show his mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasis. And another point here is that we often see that the Lord is moved to help others upon the request of his beloved devotees, right? And this is one reason why we have to make a point of taking shelter of the Vaishnavas, right? Because they will, and we sing this, and actually maybe we can sing it when we finish. In Navadvip, we used to sing every evening this one song during the Parikrama. It's very beautiful, and it's describing this process, of bringing ourselves to the Vaishnava, telling our sad situation to the Vaishnava, and then the Vaishnava petitions on our behalf to the Lord. Then the Vaishnava will make a case for us, right, with the Lord. Oh, please help them, right? It's kind of like just how things work, right? We can also say in the case of how Advaita-acharya, right, he makes that appeal to Krishna. Please come and help the souls of this world, right? Advaita-acharya is performing that function. So it is actually what moves the Lord the most, right? And so here also Mahaprabhu is a little indifferent. He doesn't care if the whole city is against him. He doesn't care, right? But because his devotees request him, oh, please, can you help them? Then he is moved to do so. Otherwise, he is neutral. It is their business, their freedom, right? So we want to have a place in the heart, right, of the Vaishnava. That is our wealth in life. So the next day, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of that Brahmin, he saw all the sannyasis of Benares sitting there. Sabanamaskori gela padaprakalane padaprakalana kori bosila sestane. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the sannyasis, he immediately offered obeisances, and then he went to wash his feet. After washing his feet, he sat down by the place where he had done so. So as we were saying, right, the Lord has a special plan for all of us, like how to capture. And so here, when he goes to this assembly of very proud sannyasis, he also has a very careful plan, a very specific plan, how to capture their heart. Very clever, So all of these sannyasis, they're very proud, right, as we said. And Mahaprabhu, he could go and sit with them and show he's also very great. But he knows that if he wants to capture their heart, he has to take a different approach. So he sits down in the most dirty place in the room, right? The most low, the place where they wash their feet, right? And feet are considered very low and filthy, right, in the Vedic culture. So he washes his feet, then he sits right there in this very dirty place. So of course, their hearts are going to be touched by that, right? Osya korila kichu aishwarya prakash mahatejo moy vapu koti soryavas. After sitting on the ground, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited in his mystic power by manifesting an effulgence as brilliant as the illumination of millions of suns. So very clever. He sits in the most dirty place, which is already, gonna make someone, feel very, bad, right? But then, if simultaneously he manifests this brilliant effulgence, so it's like this contrast that they can see. Obviously, he's a very great person, very effulgent, enlightened person, and he's sitting in such a low place, and they won't be able to tolerate it, right? Prabhaveka shilo sab sannyasi raman utilo sannyasi sab chariya san. When the sannyasis saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their minds were attracted. And they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood in respect. Prakashanandan hame sarva sannyasi pradhan Prabhu ke kohilo kichu koriya saman. The leader of all the Mayavadi sannyasis present was named Prakashananda Saraswati. And after standing up, he addressed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows, with great respect. Ihawaisa, shunoho shripad, appavitra stane vaiso kibhavasad. Please come here, Your Holiness. Why do you sit in that unclean place? What has caused your lamentation? Prabhu kohe ami hoye hina sampradai, toma sabar sabai mosite na jujai. The Lord replied, I belong to a lower order of sannyasis. Therefore, I do not deserve to sit with you. Apane prakashananda hatete dodiya, mosaila sabha madhya saman godiya. Prakashananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. Puchilo tomanam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Keshav Bharatiya Shishya Tate Tumi Dainya. Prakashananda Saraswati then said, I understand that your name is Shri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Shri Keshava Bharati, who is the sannyas guru, right, of Mahaprabhu. And therefore you are glorious. Wow, so he's taken him personally by the hand. It's so beautiful. Sampradayik sannyasi tumi rohoe grame kikarane amasabana koro darshane. You belong to our Shankar Sampradaya and live in our village Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is it that you avoid even seeing us? Because it's kind of a funny thing, but Mahaprabhu actually took Mayavad sannyas, right? Technically. There was some form of Vaishnava sannyas, but that was predominantly in South India. It wasn't so much seen in other parts of India. And so Mahaprabhu just took what was easily available. And so he was initiated into a Mayavad lineage, which is kind of a funny thing. And so they're looking at him and saying, "Oh, well, you're one of us, right? So why don't you hang out with us? Why do you behave in such a strange way?" Sannyasi hoya koro nartan gayan bhavuk sab sanghe hoya koro sankirtan. You are a sannyasi. Why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your Sankirtan movement in the company of fanatics? Vedanta Patandyan Sannyasira Dharma Tahajari Koro Kene Bhavukera Karma. Meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these to dance with fanatics? Prabhave dekiye toma sakshad narayan hinachar koro kene ite ki karan. You look as brilliant as if you were Narayan himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of lower class people? So previously they were just critical, right, of Mahaprabhu, denouncing him. But now their hearts are softened. And they're sincerely asking for some explanation. You know, like we're genuinely puzzled. Please explain. Right? Prabhu kohe shuno shipadi har karan, Guru more morka deki korilo shashan. Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, "My dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me." Gurudev, he mentioned one time, he said, Mahaprabhu was always on the battlefield. He said, but with humility. With humility. Humility is the most powerful weapon, actually. Humility and love, you can say. If you really want to capture someone, defeat someone, that's the most powerful way. Not through aggression, right? Or animosity. That has a very limited degree of success, right? And the scope of your success is also limited. Because if you conquer someone through aggression, you're only conquering them in an external way. And any time they can go their own way. But if you conquer someone's heart, they can't go anywhere. They're yours, right? So it is actually a very powerful way to capture someone. So this is Mahaprabhu's approach here. Right? In some of his other manifestations, right? Nrsimha Ramachandra, he has some weapon, right, by which he is subduing the wicked persons. But here he is conquering through the heart, right? Very beautiful, very powerful. So Mahaprabhu is saying very humbly, my guru said that I was a fool. You are a fool, he said. You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. Krishna mantra hoite hobe samsar mochan, Krishna nam hoite babe Krishna chanam. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Nam vino kalikale nahi aro dharma sarva mantra sarname shastra marma. In this age of Kali, there is no other religious principle other than the chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all Vedic hymns. This is the purport of all scriptures. Etaboli ekshlo shikailo more kante koriye shlo koriho vichade. After describing the potency of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, my spiritual master taught me another verse, advising me to always keep the name within my throat. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gati Anyata. Everyone knows this verse, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, Hare Nama, you heard that verse? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know it by heart.
Okay, but you're familiar with it. That's what counts. In this age of Kali, there is no alternative. Normally we hear no other way, right? There is no alternative. There is no alternative. There is no alternative for spiritual progress than the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. Do you remember that verse?
Yeah, I've heard it.
You've heard it, yeah. Hare, it's easy to remember. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam. Okay, should we do it? Okay, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam.
Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam.
Then Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Nastyeva Gatir Anyat. Did I say too many times? 3 times.
Yeah.
Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatir Anyata.
Kolo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Karir
Gatir
Gatir
Anyata.
Anyata.
Yeah. So the word gati means like a goal, or how is it put here? Like way. How is it put here? Yeah, like the way. There's no other way to go, right? To go for a jai. So the word gati means like, let me see. So the holy name, the holy name, the holy name only.
It kind of means like option.
Yeah. Usually it's translated like as destination. That's how it's usually translated. Here it's put as progress, like to progress. So yeah, option, you could also say. And then kevalam, the word kevala means like exclusively. So Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva. Eva is like emphatic, like certainly. Nama Eva Kevalam, like only the holy name, the holy name, the holy name. And then, yeah, there's no other, I would say way for gati. Anyata, like no other. So nastyeva, nastyeva. Nastyeva, there is not any other way, right? Gati. And so gatir is just a grammatical form, gatir. So it's gatir, anyata. So, okay, we'll do it again. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam.
Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam.
Then Kalo is from Kali, right? Kali Yuga, right? So in Kali Yuga. So Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatir, Anyata.
Kolo Nastyeva, 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 Gatir, Anyata.
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 Anyata. Yeah, very good. Very good. Anyata. Yeah. Okay, one last time. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Eva Kevalam.
Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam.
So the holy name, the holy name, the holy name, the only way. And then kalo, right? Kalo, nastyeva, 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 gatir anyata.
Kolo nastyeva, 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 gatir antya.
Anyata. Anyata.
Anyata.
Anyata. Okay, very good.
Anyata.
I think everyone's got it. That's a good one to remember.
You're giving classes of verses like this.
You know,
I heard something like this.
I've been wanting to do it, but I haven't done it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do a shloka, like shloka study, a verse study class. Yeah, because I already have 3 meetings a week, which is kind of for me, my capacity is enough, but I would like to do it at some point. Yeah. At least, I mean, not necessarily to learn them, but at least to be familiar, right? To kind of go through the key verses, right? For Gaudiya Vaishnavas, right? Gaudiya Vaishnavism. I think it's quite valuable.
What is that book that compiled?
Gaudiya Kantahara. Yeah, that's a great book. It was compiled, as I understand, by a disciple of Śrīla Saraswati Ṭhākura, with using verses that were used by Śrīla Saraswati Ṭhākura. So you could say, inspired by Śrīla Saraswati Ṭhākura. And it was a book that Gurudev liked very much, so it has his approval.
What is the name again?
Gaudiya Kantahara. Yeah.
That's available.
You can get it easily in India. I got a copy in Vrindavan. Just last year I got a copy in Vrindavan. Otherwise, maybe at ISKCON they might. It's not published as an ISKCON publication, but maybe available at ISKCON or online for sure. Yeah, but it's a great book. In Acharya Maharaj, he said that Gurudev gave it to him to study, and he said, if you memorize this, you will be 80% good preacher. 80%. It's very funny. 80% good preacher. Has almost everything you need. And it's a fab book like this.
Do you know what the missing 20% was?
I could guess. I could have a guess. But still, with preaching, I don't know. I would say it doesn't include some of like the finer verses of our Siddhanta, like what you find in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, quoted in Caitanya-caritāmṛta. But for preaching, or maybe, actually now you mention it, maybe what Gurudev meant was you also have to have your own inspiration. Right? Because when you're preaching, you can't just, you can't just tell the principles or just be like a talking book, right? You have to actually have some feeling and your own inspiration, right? Maybe that's what Gurudev meant. It could be. Yeah, I don't know. Gurudev could be cryptic, playful sometimes in the way he would say things. He could say funny things that really make you think, like, what does he mean? Maybe he's just being playful. Like, when Suvasini Didi, Suvasini, right? She moved to Ireland. Gurudev told her, he said something, I don't remember the exact number, maybe it was 22. It was 20-something, I'm pretty sure. He told her, there are 22 devotees in Ireland. He told her. So, we don't know what he means, actually. And so then when she went to Ireland, she was trying to work it out, like, who are those 22 devotees? Okay, I'm going to read a little more. There are some, really, really nice verses here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117,
Let's read a few more. Since I received, so my guru told me I'm not very intelligent, so just chant the holy name. And that's the real religion in Kali, age of Kali, right? Since I received this order from my spiritual master, I always chant the holy name. But I think that by chanting and chanting the holy name, I have been bewildered. Dainya dorite nadi, hailamun mata, hasi kandinachi gai jaiche madamata. While chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself, and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing, just like a madman. Tave darja dori mane korilo vichar, Krishna name jnana chan hoilo amar. Collecting my patience, therefore, I began to consider that chanting the holy name of Krishna had covered all my spiritual knowledge. Paga hoilo ami darjanahi mane eta chintini vedilo guru charane. Do you know that word well, you know it, pagal, right? Pagal. Do you know that word? Pagal means, tell her what pagal means.
Crazy.
Crazy?
Yeah.
You hear it a lot in Bengal. And Gurudev would joke with that word too. I saw that I had become mad by chanting the holy name. And I immediately submitted this at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Kiba mancha dila gosai, kiba tarbo, japite mancha korilo pagal. My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. Asai nachai mode kodai krandan, etta shuni guru hasi bolilo vachan. Chanting the holy name in ecstasy causes one to dance, laugh, and cry. When my spiritual master heard all this, he smiled and then began to speak. Krishna namaha mantra heto swabhav, jai japetar Krishna upajaye bhav. It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. Krishna Vishakha Prema Padam Purushartha Jarage Trinatulya Chari Purushartha. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the 4 goals of life. But before love of Godhead, the 5th and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. Pancham Purushartha Premanandamrita Sindhu Mokadiyananda Janahe Kabindu. For a devotee who has developed bhav, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama, and moksha appears like a drop in the presence of the sea. So actually the Bengali here is, this is a nice term, Pancham Purushartha, right? So sometimes it is said that Mahaprabhu came with the 5th goal of life, right? Pancham Purushartha. Because generally the Vedas discuss these 4 goals, right? Of dharma, general duty or piety, artha, wealth, dharma, artha, kam, pleasure, sense pleasure, and moksha, liberation, right? So these are known as the 4 great ends of human existence. But Mahaprabhu and Srimad Bhagavatam, they're introducing this 5th goal of life, right? Which makes everything else look like nothing, right? Premanandamrita Sindhu. This Pancham Purushartha, this 5th end of life, is like an ocean of love, an ocean of the nectar of the joy of prema. That is what it says. Prema Ananda Amrita Sindhu. An ocean of the nectar of the joy of divine love. So this is prema, the 5th goal of life. And all the other goals, they look like one tiny drop in comparison to that. Krishna name full prema, sarva shastre koe, bhagya se prema tomai, korila udoe. The conclusions of all revealed scriptures is that one should awaken his dormant love of Godhead. You are greatly fortunate to have already done so. So Mahaprabhu's, it's very charming, right? Mahaprabhu's coming, oh, I'm so worried, I started chanting this and all these symptoms came, and this guru is telling him, don't worry, you're very lucky, it's a good sign, it's a good sign. It is a characteristic of love of Godhead that by nature it induces transcendental symptoms in one's body and makes one more and more greedy to achieve the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Premar svabhave bhakta hase kande gaye unmatta hoya nache iti uti dai. When one actually develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes chants, and sometimes runs here and there, just like a madman. Sedakampa romanchashu gadgaravarvanya unmada vishadarja garva harsha donya itamave prema bhakta ganere nachai krishna anandamrita sagare basai. Perspiration, trembling, standing of one's bodily hairs, tears, faltering, fading, madness, melancholy, patience, pride, joy, and humility. These are various natural symptoms of ecstatic love of Godhead, which causes a devotee to dance and float in an ocean of transcendental bliss while chanting Hare Krishna mantra.
Is that pride at some point?
Tears, for sure. Yeah, that must be here. Yeah,
Pride.
Tears.
Pride? Pride.
Oh, pride.
Was it?
Pride is here. Yeah, it is, and humility is also here. Actually, I haven't read through it, but we've seen some excerpts in Caitanya-caritāmṛta and other places. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Śrīla Rupa Goswami, he gives some descriptions of all of these different moods that come, and you see also in, for example, in the Brahmar Gīta, right, that it is Srimati Radharani's expressions of madness, right, when that bumblebee comes near her, and Śrīla Swami Maharaj includes parts of it in one of his purports in Caitanya-caritāmṛta. When Mahaprabhu, because there are also sections of Caitanya-caritāmṛta where Mahaprabhu is expressing these different moods, right? And so you see how, because Mahaprabhu, of course, is in the mood of Radharani, right? And so you see examples actually of pride, you can say, and this changing of the moods, right? Sometimes very humble, sometimes very proud, and accusing Krishna, like that. But these are high topics. It is very, this is so charming, Swami Maharaj's translation. Balo hoilo. Balo hoilo means like you've done well, or it's good, right? It is very good, so this is Mahaprabhu's guru speaking to him. It is very good, my dear child. This is Swami Maharaj's translation, it's very sweet. It is very good, my dear child, that you have attained the supreme goal of life by developing love of Godhead. Thus you have pleased me very much, and I am very much obliged to you. Nachagao Bhakta Sange. There's one verse I want to read which is coming up, and then we'll close. Here it is. It's just 2 or 3 verses ahead. Nachagao Bhakta Sange Koro Sankirtan Krishna Namupadeshitar Sarvajan. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting, and performing Sankirtan in association with devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Krishna Nam For by this process you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. Etta boli ek shlok shikailo mode bhagavatar sare bale bade bade. Saying this, my spiritual master taught me one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the essence of all the Bhagavatam's instructions. Therefore, he instructed me this verse again and again. This is a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Evam vrata swapriya nama kirtya jatana raga juta chitta uchaya asatya tododi tiroti gayat yonmadava nritya tirokabaya. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. It'd be nice to see a literal translation. It's a bit tricky to translate it. Literal, it's something like, it uses this word rata. You know rata, right? Rata means like a vow. So it's saying one whom has taken the vow to chant the name, right? But it doesn't just say the name, it says swapriya. The priya means very beloved, right? So they've taken a vow to chant the name of their beloved Lord, something like that. Kirtya, right? To chant that. But then this swa is referring to the self. So it's kind of, I think, emphasizing dear to oneself. The name of the Lord, which is very dear to oneself. Then all of these symptoms come to them, right? Madness and laughing, crying, and not caring for outsiders. Lokabaya, outside people, don't care for their opinion. Very beautiful verse.
It's considered to be what did they say before mentioning this verse? They said this verse is considered the essence of all scriptures or something like this.
It is the essence of all of the Bhagavatam's instructions.
Oh,
Yeah. Saying this, my Guru taught me one shlok. It is the essence of Bhagavatam. Yeah, it's an interesting point, because also the very last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it concludes with glorification of the holy name. So it is very much the scripture for this age, right? That emphasis is given.
What was that song you wanted us to?
Yeah, maybe we should sing it. How does the first line go? Thank you. You would sing it during the evening parikrama. Here it is. It's page 71. The tune is a little different, if I can remember. Gobeshi Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Yeah, I'll sing it like that. Gobeshi Caitanya-caritāmṛta doyā. Pāibo vaiṣṇava-pada-chāyā. kobe amichani mohe vishaya vimana kobe Vishnu jane ami koribo samana Kalabhastra Kirtanjali Vaishnavanikate Dante Trina Kodinanai Bonishkapate Kadiya kadiya janai moduka grama samsadayana lavite magi bhavishrama Shuniyaya mara dukkha vaiṣṇava-pada-chāyā Amalagi Krishna abe libena prachoda Vaishnava-pada vedane Krishna doyā moi He no pamada prati obena sadoi Vinodedani vedana Vaishnava-charane Nipa kodi sangelo e akinchane Oh, when will Sri Chaitanya bestow upon me his grace? When will I get shelter in the shade of the holy feet of the Vaishnavas? When will I give up the false ego of being an enjoyer? And when will I offer all respects to the sincere devotees of Lord Vishnu? When will I submit myself by the feet of the Vaishnava with the cloth of surrender around my neck and with straw between my teeth? Weeping and weeping, when will I submit my sorrowful tale at the feet of the Vaishnava? And when will I seek relief from the fire of material suffering, praying to that Vaishnava for shelter and rest? Upon hearing the tale of my worldly sorrow, that saintly Vaishnava will petition Krishna on my behalf in prayer. Then, satisfied by that Vaishnava's prayer, Krishna will be merciful upon this wicked and sinful wretch. Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura submits this prayer at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Please give me your grace and accept this lowly soul in your association. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanandi.